Hey folks, how's it going? Today we are going to talk about Scoob. So yeah, I did not like this movie. I did not like this movie. It's not complete trash, but it's also not good, in my opinion, by any means. This film was released directly to video by Warner. It suffered the same fate as Trolls 2, where because of COVID-19, movie theaters are currently not allowed. Let's not go there. That's a bad idea. So instead, they released these directly to video, and Scoob did the same thing as Trolls 2 in that regard. And it's interesting to see how that's going to play out in the future, if that's going to start a new trend for films. I guess we will have to wait and see. But talking about the film itself, it's done by Warner. It's because Warner, I believe, I don't know if they own it or if they're partners with Cartoon Network and Hanna-Barbera. I think they own it. But Warner did the movie. The trailer came out last year. I was optimistic. I was like, okay, this film looks like it's faithful enough. The character designs I'm not completely in love with. For like Velma and Fred and Daphne, I thought they looked a bit off. But where it counts the most, Shaggy and Scooby, I thought they looked fine. And I will go more into that as I talk about this review. So the synopsis for the film is you've got Scooby and Shaggy who end up with Blue Falcon. They go on a quest. They're being chased by Dick Dastardly. It's actually quite interesting because a lot of the stuff in the trailer were like the first 30 minutes of the film. So there's a good chunk of the film where it was like, okay, this is new territory, and I at least can appreciate that. So yeah, it's pretty obvious right off the bat that this is an attempt to expand on the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe, I suppose. At least that's the vibe I got. You got things in this movie like Blue Falcon, Dick Dastardly, Muttley, Captain Caveman, Dee Dee Sykes, I believe. She's the assistant to Blue Falcon. She's from, I believe it's from, not Josie and the Pussycats. She's from another Hanna-Barbera property. Because at first when I saw her design, I thought, huh, she must be new. And then I Googled it, and I'm like, oh no, she's an existing Hanna-Barbera character. Though she, according to my friend here, and I agree with her 100%, she looks just like a Fortnite skin. I mean, come on, like, where are we dropping, Cap? So yeah, the synopsis is kind of all over the place, and it's disappointing after watching the film because I am used to Scooby-Doo films and shows and just the entire premise of Scooby-Doo in particular to be about them solving a mystery. And that's not really the case here. If anything, this is more of them going off on an adventure and in a big blockbuster sense. And that's a bummer. I guess, like, and I know that Scooby-Doo films in the past have not been perfect and that they have gone in different directions. I mean, for crying out loud, there was a Scooby-Doo film where they were hanging out with John Cena and like WWE like wrestlers. So Hanna-Barbera and Warner and all those guys have made mistakes in the past, so I'm not like too shocked. But again, I was really hopeful for this one. I was hoping that this could be the start of something cool, and I like the idea of like stylized animation. Like take for example the Peanuts movie from Blue Sky. They did a good job of staying faithful to the property and presenting the movie in a way where it's like, okay, it's stylized computer animation. This works. I was hoping for the same for Scoob, and I thought that would be the case because I watched the trailer and I'm like, okay, it's close. And there was even a part at the beginning of the film where they recreate the intro for Scoob, and I'm like, oh, cool. This is giving me some confidence that this film will deliver. Nope. As soon as that was over, they literally are at a diner and Simon Cowell sits down with them to like talk about their team and why they are worthy and not worthy of investment. What the hell? Why is Simon Cowell here? Is this Shrek? What? This joke is like 20 years old. That was like the beginning of the end for me. As soon as I saw Simon Cowell, I'm like, oh, you lost me. You're about to lose me. And then the movie proceeded forward. I'm like, you are just losing me constantly. And there's like little moments where I'm like, okay, there's some heart here. There was some talent. There's some thought that went into this movie. But then I feel like some Warner Brothers executives kicked down the door of the writer's room or the animator's room and said, hey, got some updates and some notes for you. Change this, change that, change this, change this, change this. You know, we want to put minions into our film. We want to put in some voice actors who aren't good voice actors to do these characters. Thank God that Frank Welker was the voice of Scoob, because you could not have replaced that. It's impossible. Like, Scooby's voice is so truly unique. You need a good voice actor for that. But like Shaggy's performance from Will Forte, I was like, this sounds like a depressed Shaggy. Did you say IKEA? It's like, this sounds so sad. Like, where's the actual voice actor for Shaggy? Where's the actual voice actor for Daphne and Velma and Freddy? And it just bothers me because I'm like, you all went into this film saying, screw it, let's get some topical or some big celebrities to voice our characters. Who cares if it doesn't even sound that good? We don't care. Because they'll promote their stuff on Twitter and we'll get some more butts in the seats. I can respect that from a financial point of view. Don't get me wrong. I understand at the end of the day, you've got to get that bottom line because it's a business. But when it comes to the performance, I'm like Zac Efron as Freddy, not really feeling it. When it comes to Will Forte as Shaggy, it just sounded like sad, like a deflated Shaggy. Shaggy to me has like this high-pitched, Scoob kind of thing going on. And this one, it's more like, Scoob. It sounded like a sad Shaggy. And I don't know, it like hurt the movie for me. Thank God that where it really counts, the movie at least delivered on that front. Well, except for the story. That was completely convoluted. It was all over the place. It was such a cluster frick. I won't use F-bombs as the movie's jokes and references so casually refer to. Again, there are moments in this movie where there's like jokes that kind of get me, but like there's standalone jokes that don't have any real bearing on the plot or the story or the characters. It felt like Family Guy jokes where they're just standalones versus something, and this is an unfair example because I'm comparing it to one of the best animated movies of all time, Spider-Verse, where you've got these characters making jokes that seem like they're really on brand for the personality of the characters, and it works. Here, it's like, no, that joke's just kind of a one-off, whatever. You made me laugh, but that's about it. This movie, it's like so convoluted with what's going on with Dick Dastardly trying to get his dog back, with the tomb of Alexander the Great and Herodotus, I believe, his dog. Okay. The way with like Blue Falcon and his friends, it just, there's no real good setup and there's no real good payoff. And when there ever was like a setup like Shaggy and Scooby and their friendship, which was a big, I guess, part of the movie, that felt forced because Shaggy like is a loner back in the day when he was a kid. He met Scooby. He's like, oh, you'll be my friend and we'll always be together. And then they kind of start drifting apart throughout the movie. And it's like, this doesn't feel organic. It feels forced. Like these are forced sad moments. And I'm not really sad at all. Well, I'm sad watching the movie and seeing that it wasn't what I was hoping for. Again, like the minions, like Dick Dastardly has a bunch of like robotic minions. And they don't even look like they belong in that universe. They look like they're like early 2000s like toys or something. And it's like, God damn it, you guys are trying to do it again. You're trying to make merchandise. And again, I get that that is part of the business model because animation's not cheap and it's not always guaranteed. It's a very hard process. So I can acknowledge that they want to get a return on investment for casting celebrity voice actors, for putting in things that will end up being merchandise. But when it starts to hinder the story, the performance, I feel like I have every right to at least call you out on that and say, this wasn't good. It wasn't good. Again, there's moments where I'm like, there's some heart and some thought here, where like there's the old Hanna-Barbera sound effects for Scooby-Doo in the movie. But I felt like the sound effects did not really pair up well with the physical humor that was going on for the scenes. Like there's one part where Scooby and Shaggy run and they do the running and play sound effect, but they don't really run in place. They just kind of move. And I'm like, oh, that didn't fit well. Compared to Scooby-Doo where like the cartoon where they're running in place for a good 2 to 3 seconds before they move because that's cartoon logic. And that works. The action is amplified by the sound. Not here. So I acknowledge them saying, hey, thanks for putting in the sound effects, but they didn't really work in my opinion. And also didn't really enjoy that like Freddy, Velma, and Daphne were like not really in the movie that much. They just kind of went off to do their own thing. And that was it. I would have enjoyed it more if they were all together for a bit more of the movie. Like I personally think instead of like doing the a pup named Scooby-Doo, because they kind of reference that early on in the movie. So they do that. Then it jumps forward to them recreating the intro and then immediately goes to a diner with Simon Cowell and then they split off. That bothered me. I wish they would have had them maybe wrapping up a mystery after the intro and them being like, yeah, we're getting tired of doing the same old, we need to think bigger. And that would have worked better. Or it would have been better, don't even bring Simon Cowell into it. Let Scooby and Shaggy be the ones to think about their role in Mystery Inc. and that they don't really offer anything. And then they kind of drift off on their own and their own denial versus having Simon Cowell tell them. That was weird. And then Dick Dastardly comes out of nowhere because we need to expand on our Hanna-Barbera plot. Whatever. Okay, things I do like. I think the design of Scooby, his model, looked fantastic. Some of the animation looked really great. The movement was solid. There are like moments in the movie where you see a lot of Hanna-Barbera background, like references to the Hanna-Barbera like cinematic universe. And I like that. Like, you get the Hex Girls, you got Snagglepuss, you know, it's quite fun looking through the background saying, oh, there's another Hanna-Barbera reference. But background references do not a movie make. Is that how you say it? I'm trying to be all fancy with the saying. It's not the backbone you want to build your movie on, or background references. You need a strong story, strong characters, a strong plot, a strong narrative. And in that regard, this movie did not deliver, and it felt weak. It's almost like their objective was to make a Hanna-Barbera blockbuster film and just throw Scooby in there just to carry it along, and just didn't feel good. Did not feel good. So all in all, would I recommend this movie? No, I would not. I think it's sad. I think there's heart and talent that went into this film. And I see it with some of the, models, and the animators did a good job in some ways. There are other parts where I noticed there was like this police car, and when the camera swooms around, it's like, ooh, the inside of that police car looks a bit empty. And I don't know. I wish there would have been more Scooby references. Red herring. I wish there would have been a scene where they're walking through a hallway and the background just keeps repeating over and over, because that's what old Hanna-Barbera cartoons did, is they reuse the same backgrounds with their walk cycles. They didn't do that. Velma never said jinkies. She never lost her glasses. Freddy's ascot at the end, he pulls his ascot out of nowhere, and it's like, where did that come from? That has nothing to do with anything. That came out of nowhere. It's almost like the writers are like, oh yeah, Freddy has an ascot. Give it to him at the very end, and he immediately loses it. And I was like, okay. There's heart in some places, and there's other moments where they just completely drop the ball. So yeah, there are things I like, but not nearly enough when it comes to the list of things I did not care for. So recommend it? No, I would not. If you're a fan of Scooby-Doo, you will enjoy it because it's Scooby-Doo on the big screen. Even if it's got its pitfalls, you most likely will enjoy it because, Scooby-Doo. And at least Scooby-Doo was good. I thought his voice acting, his model, his performance was fine. The story was dumb with him, but everything else with Scooby was fine. Same with Dick Dastardly. But as far as the rest of the film, not really. If you, again, like Scooby-Doo, watch it. If you like animated films and you're bored, give it a shot. Is there better stuff out there? Absolutely. And is this something that's worth $20 on Amazon Prime to rent? No way. I thought Trolls 2 was much, much better. But, hey, that's just my opinion. So, all right, folks, that's all I have to say about Scoob. Let me know what you all think in the comments, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.